Well. Welcome back to Krown's Crypto Cave. Happy Friday. You made it all the way to Friday, but it's a goddamn cryptocurrency bloodbath day. Hey, hope you're having the best Friday possible, by the way. Hope you're having the best Friday that you could ever have in your life. And also, happy birthday to everyone out there. Anyways, getting a live scene right over here right now, as there's plenty of fresh price action to analyze, analysize, and Bitcoin breaking that critical 3,600 area that we spoke about last night, about an hour after I got off of stream. If you do want to make this on a daily dildo time frame, well, you could do it something like this. And that was essentially your signal to enter. Once you got that first hourly closing below 3,600, boom, and more wrecked, more BitMEX wrecked action on the good old Twitters. Anyways, to really get this one, we're going to have to go down to our into our BitMEXico chart. Again, this is what I was talking about, this lower blue box territory right over here. Once we actually broke that, the volume started pouring in, and that was your big signal. Right here, right now, it does look like we're having a little bit of a short-term pullback, perhaps. I'd say we got some resistance right around about 3485, 3500-ish area, which actually does make me want to get rid of this offer right there. And I'll just kind of let this one sit back. Yes, I do still have my short open. Some of it is actually covered right now, but that'll be expiring in the next literally 57 minutes. So again, just holding this short from 6,300. The gift that keeps on giving. Well, when you're in a fucking bear market, it's like people keep on asking me, why don't you close that? Well, one, I can play options against it, and two, when you're in a bear market, you play the trend until the trend tells you not to play it anymore. Anyways, let me delete this silly alert right there. That's not really applicable to the current price action. Anyways, overall, where is this likely to go towards? As we do have a couple things to be going off of here. Yes, this does look like actually, whether you want to call it an inverted cup and handle or a descending triangle, I don't care what you call it. Whenever you have something like this, an obvious consolidation phase, which is really marked by the volume. I don't know if you can even put like a legitimate name on this, but you don't need to. Again, I love to be, I have to be so adamant about this. People are always obsessed with saying, is this a cup and handle? Is this a head and shoulders? Is this a falling wedge? It's like, who gives a fuck? If you have a volume signature like this, where you're like, coming down, that is a consolidation phase, and when you have price action that looks like this, that is a bearish consolidation. So typically speaking, the unspoken rule is that you can take like the height of it essentially and apply that to the downside. Where would that be pointing us towards? Have we gotten there already? Oh my god, it's like I've done this before. We got a red arrow pointing down here right around about at like 2850. Yeah, so that's kind of where I am looking for overall. That would match up with the blue box, the secondary blue box territory that we've been looking at on our Bitstamp chart over here. This is a pretty massive blue box though, and that is for good reason. The 886 Fibonacci retracement does kind of cordon off the lower bounds of this guy, and then at the top is pretty much where that measure move was coming to right around 2900-ish area. Yes, I did make the same measure move over here, but overall, we spoke about yesterday as I don't really have a strong opinion on like when that break was going to happen. I mean, once we saw the traditional market start to break down, then it became a lot more likely to happen sooner. But I did have a strong opinion that we're going to be breaking. This area is not going to be the low for multiple reasons. But coming down in this area relatively fast does imply that overall this phase of the market cycle probably does go deeper. Of course, this secondary blue box territory right here will have a chance to be a full-on reversal, no doubt about that. Does it actually be reversal? Well, I think that really does come into question with how fast this thing is accelerated to the downside. We also do have the 200 simple moving average coming in right around price action, at the top of the blue box right over here. So it's a good zone, in my opinion, between the 200 simple, the 886 Fibonacci retracement, which is actually where you did bottom out in 2014, just as an aside. Also, if we take off everything we put on the volume profile, you can see very, very clearly that we have a very similar situation as to what happened when Bitcoin broke the 6,000 level over here. Just basically nothing doing all the way down until about 2,800 actually. So again, agreeing with that measured move, agreeing with the secondary blue box territory. Yes, I have actually changed my volume profile over here, by the way, in case you're wondering why it looks a little bit different. It's more I feel like it's more accurate right now as it's been getting the price action a lot better. So again, I'm looking at this guy right over here. I like the good confluence with everything that we have going on, and I would be saying that you probably do find this run get a nice bounce somewhere in this, somewhere around like 28 to 2600 would be where I tentatively say. Again, you never know when it comes to like a wick in this, but as far as Dildo Buddy goes, that's kind of where I'd be looking towards. In the more immediate time frames, though, it is certainly worth mentioning that going back to the hourly right over here and taking off the volume profile. There ain't, 3,600 is now going to be a big area to be aware of because that's our breakdown point, right? So as long as you're below there, extremely bearish. If we do pop back up into this like 35 to 35.50 range, that's probably going to be defended. I would look for that to be defended. If I wanted to play like a shorter term position, I might. But again, I'm not like too interested in having like a full on directional trade here. Yes, I did play the breakdown from here to here, and then I took it off because I was, I just don't want to have a risk today, man. I want to have like a nice easy weekend. Sorry, not in in both my accounts, both my streamer and my main account, they have big shorts from much higher, well above 6,000. So again, just kind of managing that and using options to kind of play this is essentially my disposition at the current moment in time. Anyways, as you can see right here, we are trying to consolidate, are trying to like run it up a little bit. Again, like I said, if you got to run to about 3,500, that's the next resistance that I'd be looking towards. Anywhere in this range between 3,550 and 3,500. If I had to play a position, is where I'd be looking towards. I'm sure everyone's gonna be talking about the good old titty sequential over here because it's so popularized right now. It's like you can count to 9, which again, I give it a little bit of shit. The TD sequential is okay. It's certainly not my favorite way of doing things. It's a good secondary or tertiary confirmation tool. Now, here's the thing. We just started this 3-day dildo right here. We got a new one yesterday, so we have 2 more days, 2 more daily dildo closes before we get a new 3-day dildo, one fresh 3-day dildo. And yes, it is on a 9. Yes, I'm sure people are going to be calling this out. And that is perhaps worthwhile as it does have good confluence with the area that we're starting to get into. But again, this has another 2 closes, 2 daily closes to go before you get a new one. So I certainly would not rule out a move all the way down into this blue box territory, like full on outwards. Again, it's very important to understand that these things need to be taken as like a secondary, tertiary confirmation tool. I would not go blindly off this. Yes, it is a big deal that you're getting it on a 3-day, no doubt about that. How has the history of this been on the 3-day dildo time frame? We really don't have any 9s on this actually. Let's see. You got a 9 right here at the low. You got a 9 right here at the low. So that's good. You got a 9 near the top. So that's kind of good. You got an 8 over here. So that's close enough. But again, we actually are death crossed on the 3-day dildo time frame, by the way. That was the big impetus for this going further down. In my opinion, I would be very, very careful. Again, when you have 2 days worth of this 9 to go forwards, first things first, it's not my fucking favorite way of doing things. Second things second, there's no fucking guarantees. And third things third, I'd put way more weight on this guy. So this can very easily continue down. If you're thinking of just blindly buying here, be fucking careful. Be very fucking careful. To me, you just had a 2-week consolidation, breakout to the downside. Probably going to see some more continuation before you have any sort of like meaningful pullback. So I don't even want to look at that right now. Sorry, the titty sequential. Get off there, you little fucker. Anyways, onto the 3-day dildo time frame. Sorry, and putting on the Trollinger bands. It is a little bit interesting to me that we are starting to like get down and deep into the lower Trollinger band, which is around that 3180 level, which would be the weekly 200 simple moving average. But I think it's best seen over here on the weekly. I don't think that the 3 days getting it right. I think that the weekly is getting it right. And we spoke about how this was likely to see continuation. This was also another factor pointing in the direction that, hey, this is likely to see continuation before we get anywhere back above 4,500. So I think I said that either yesterday or the day before that we're probably going lower before we go back above 4,500. And when I say lower, probably like below 3,000. But yeah, you close this first massive girthy dildo outside the lower Trollinger band, tested on last week's dildo right over here, and then continuation. So that's exactly what you can kind of get from this. Again, another indicator that is certainly not my favorite way of doing things, but now you have the median kind of skid mark band, which is downward sloped once again, ever since your drop off from 6,000, and we are trending outside the lower Trollinger band, which is 100% like completely fine. You can do that, and it just means that this trend is extremely strong. Just like over here, when you're trending outside of the upside, it was extremely strong to the upside as well. But everyone thinks that's fine, but over here, this is it's manipulation, man. The RSI is so low, and the price action is outside of the lower 200 band on the weekly. This is manipulation. It's like, no. This is a very strong trend that had been brewing for the last 11 months, and now you are going to get fucking wrecked as my voice cracks. So now I sound like an idiot. But we do have continuation over here just from looking at, dildo bodies. The low, this guy was 34.74. The low of this guy, 3,300 even on Stamp. I think Bit Mexico got a little bit lower. So overall, again, that's also how we knew this was unlikely to be. This is just not capitulation over here. Again, I always want to go through the reasons of why it was not. I mean, now it's like fucking obvious because you're going lower. You don't just it's capitulation. We just went lower to capitulate a little bit lower. You have different levels of capitulation. Okay, it's that simple. No, of course not. When you have a bounce like this, which is barely even a bounce, yes, it looks great when you just blindly see it. And you're like, guys, we bounced 10% off the lows, okay? What makes you think that this thing is going any lower? We're going back to 10,000 tomorrow. Well, yeah, it's 10%, but when you lose 60%, doesn't really mean that much, does it? So again, that's 60% in just a 1 week time frame right there. I mean, just if you take that all the way up over here, that's 84. But it depends. Like if you do it like this, then it's 45, and then you gain back about 5%. So however you want to do it, the higher time frames do give you great perspective on this. So again, not capitulation when you come down like this. This dildo ending on its lows over here on extremely heavy volume is telling you that the sell pressure is fucking real, and it's very likely to continue. Again, strong trends continue. It's so funny to me when you hear people say, bro, I've done the analysis. I'm looked at the RSI. It's really oversold. I think this is the bottom. It's like, all right. Well, as you can see over here, it can stay low for a very fucking long time, and in a very strong trend, you will get this. You'll get the initial kind of divergence right here, yeah, and that typically will play out. But look, you just get to the edge of the bearish control zone, and then they say fuck off and back down, baby, trending back below the exponential right there as well as you get back below the critical zone. Again, being below the critical zone does not mean that like it's bounce time, baby. To me, that means that the trend is extremely strong, and you really don't want to be fucking around with it. This is like the funniest thing about cryptocurrency, because you get like the diehards, right? Which is great. Gold has their fucking gold bugs. Cryptocurrency has like the crypto anarchists, and then like in every asset has it. Even like Tesla has it. But people just get gung-ho about these sorts of things, only wanting to buy it because they think that it can only go up. Well, in a very strong downtrend, just like in a very strong uptrend, you will continue. I mean, over here, you were quote unquote overbought. Like it's like there's no such thing as overbought or oversold. Professionals are laughing in your fucking face. I always like to say this when I was in a more professional setting as a market maker in equity options on New York Stock Exchange ARCA. We'd always have the CNBC TVs going on, and the analysts on there are great because they'd say funny stuff, and you know that they know what they know that what they're saying is bullshit, if that even makes sense. But like they'll say shit like, yeah, man, overbought. This is time to sell. Or oversold, bro. Gotta buy it. It's like, all right. Everyone just erupts into fucking laughter because there's no such thing, man. There's no such thing. RSI is just telling you about how strong this trend is, and it's quite strong. Now we will have a chance to start making divergence on the 3-day dildo time frame over here, but again, you're trending like very low below this exponential on the RSI, so that doesn't typically happen very often. So yeah, I would be looking for divergence at some point in time, but again, this is a 3-day dildo time frame, so this can take another like week to really play out, and a lot of damage can be done within that week time frame. So overall, the big news to me is that yes, you do have the 3-day dildo death cross right over here, and it's just almost immediate reaction, just like you had in 2014. By the way, you had the purple 50 and the purple 200 and the green 50 right over here crossing, and then boom, a couple of dildos later, you're sent onto your red dildo capitulation death hole. Let's actually measure this one out. Let's do wick to wick, about 53% lower. Again, I'm not saying that Bitcoin is about to go 53% lower from that point, but I'm just curious what it would look like. That would be all the way down around here, right around about low 2000s. So again, that's not something that I'm comfortable with saying. It's fun to look at. It's great to look at. But when it comes down to it, what I do care about is understanding how the bots and the algorithms are programmed with this. So I always like to repeat this as well. Understanding these crosses is not like some sort of fucking magical, mystical, unknown factor from Harry Potter land. No, it's not that at all. It's just telling us that the bots and the algorithms are likely to intensify their selling programs. So we do have that information in the past, and we basically have the same reaction right over here. The selling has intensified as you break your prior lows. Red 10 simple moving average getting well below. I mean, not even anywhere near price action, by the way. But all the moving averages are getting below that 6,000 level. So again, 6,000 is very critical going forwards from here, as that was our breakdown point from the 11-month consolidation right over here, which is essentially being resolved. That's also why people saying that this thing is just gonna fucking V bottom from 3,600. It's just silly, man. It's so silly. Like you spent 11 months consolidating. You think it's just going to be resolved in like 2 weeks? No, very unlikely. 2 weeks and like $3,000? No, probably not. You're gonna have like the equal but opposite that you had going on to the upside as you have to the downside. So you remember going to the upside, like it just felt like every day it was like another $1,000, another $1,000. Well, you have like the same sort of feeling on the downside. It's the same. It's like if you can understand that emotional programming that we all have, because we do all have it. As anatomically modern Homo sapiens, well, you're likely going to feel that same intensity of emotions, just going to be a different, spectrum of emotions, essentially, and the more fearful side if you are an investor, aka hodler. Again, capitulation is forced, and we're not quite there just yet. This is still not capitulation. This is nowhere near capitulation, actually, just because we are still making lower lows, and the volume is just not. It's not what we're looking for. But hey, all these major exponentials getting below that critical 6,000 levels. So that also tells me that we're likely to stay below 6,000 for, a long time, well into 2019. I know that a lot of people are going to blame this last drop on the Bitcoin ETF. It's like, no. No, this was all written in the sand, for the last 11 months right around here. We've been talking about this for a long time. We've had these areas marked off for a long time. And I will have to make a new area. You can already see that I've started designing it down around here, right around 1850. And it's going to be somewhere, it's going to be either 1850 or 1300-ish. This one's going to be the next blue box. I should actually just draw it in right now. 1850 will likely be a point of interest as well. Again, I'm not saying that Bitcoin definitely gets down there. I take things one thing at a time. I'm not like most analysts. But I'm never gonna say, hey, Bitcoin's definitely going down to 1100, 1200, no matter what. There's no ands or buts about it, because that's not the way that I do technical analysis. I see that we have a major area right here. This does have potential to be a reversal, no doubt about that. I think that you get a massive bounce off this, in my opinion. My opinion would be, I think that it does not hold over time. And you do come down to either 18 or 13 right over here. But that's just my opinion. Again, this will have a chance over here. It will have a chance to be reversal. How will you know that it's reversal? Well, if you get back above 6,000, there's going to be no questions in my mind. But more importantly, if you can get back above this dotted trend line over here, that is the 10-year logarithmic trend line of Bitstamp. Never been broken in the since the inception of Bitstamp, going all the way back to the genesis. Well, if you can break back above there, then that would be very interesting to me, because whenever Bitcoin has broken like the quote unquote bull channel, which this would be the lower support of that bull channel in past market cycles, it never gets back above there, actually. So this actually could be our governing factor going forwards. And as you would see, it would greatly, reduce the like crazy gains that I think a lot of people are used to. In fact, the upper bound of it would only be reaching 20,000 in June of 2020, and that would be like the upper bound, right? So it's going to hover somewhere between the lower and the upper bound. So that's it could still be like 10,000 at that time. Again, I'm not saying that that's exactly what it's going to be. I'm just posturing ideas. So yeah, overall though, all moving averages, all major moving averages bearish right here. I mean, this is your weekly, your blue 30 simple moving average, which I care a lot about the slope on. That one is still angled further down. And again, breaking the 200 exponential right over here, that was also a signal that we're likely to see continuation. I was hoping that we'd get another wick above to be a seller and put on another big position for a good high quality trade. Didn't really get that, as Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin is just like overall pretty damn weak, especially with regular markets kind of selling selling off, which we will get to in a second, which actually do have something very interesting to say about them. But overall, the 21 exponential getting back below the 6,000 level, the 100 exponential getting below as well. So this is likely going to take a long time, likely going to take a very long time as all of these major resistances start to migrate under that critical 6,000 level, which again to me is going to be like the lid on this market phase. As long as you're below there, it's always going to be a question in the back of my mind. Okay, has this thing actually run its course? Of course, when you actually do get capitulation, if there's something like glaringly obvious, then yeah, we'll probably have some ideas before then. But that will be the more like by the book way of doing shit. Okay, cool. So let's get back on over. Let's actually look at the monthly really quick. The monthly will be breaking the green 55 exponential moving average right over here. So what happens after you break the green 55 exponential? And yes, this is very likely to be a break. I don't think that we're going back above 4,500 or even the high of this still at 4,250, before month's end. I mean, in probably even until like a couple months into next year, I'd imagine. Where's kind of like the next area of interest for this guy? Well, to really get a read on this, we need to go to the BLX index because it actually has some price action history. So we're going to be opening and closing our first monthly dildo below the 21 exponential, by the way. Very, very likely. I mean, yes, there's a lot of days left in December. Yes, it's a little bit aggressive of me to say that, but hey, by the way things look, I would be comfortable with saying that right now. You have the 100 exponential coming in right around 2,400-ish area, which, by the way, that was the lower bound of our next blue box territory. So, yeah, I do think that Bitcoin probably does make its way down there over this next month. How fast does that happen? I don't really have an opinion on that. I think Bitcoin's gonna have a major bounce. At some point, is it this month or next month? That's a real question. Oh, I do have the 89 on there. Okay, so let's actually see. What if I had the 100? I'm curious what that would be coming in around. 100 is coming around 1580. That's interesting. Anyways, okay, so that's cool. So yeah, I'd be using the 89 on this guy. Anyways, it's a nice fib. And that would be coming in around again our lower. Whoops. Sorry, 2,400 represented by the purple right there. Let me just get everything back though, so I don't confuse myself, as that can be a problem. Let's do 100 and let's do 200. There we go. Okay, cool. So you can see that the 200 monthly exponential is not even existent on this guy. We just got our first few ticks on the 100 exponential on the monthly. So remember, you need 200 months. Bitcoin does not have 200 fucking months of price action history. It doesn't exist. Okay, great. So let's also look at the MVT signal. I'm curious how he's doing. Yeah, so MVT signal, again, if you're not familiar with it, it is essentially the network value divided by the daily transaction value and then interpolated using forward, backward moving averages to create a smooth line. Okay, that probably means nothing. But when you look at the oscillator right over here, it calls the tops every fucking time perfectly in Bitcoin's history, in Bitcoin, like the full history of Bitcoin. Anytime that it gets above where my cursor currently is, that typically calls a top. And after that, it typically goes down to where my cursor is now. Well, as you can see, it is right in the middle of that range. So that would be suggesting that we could still go, we still have plenty of room to the downside, which I'd certainly agree with. The real question is, does that imply Bitcoin is literally going to go like another 50% down from here? That's not something that I think you can say from that, but it is interesting that, if you did take 30 or 50% off from this range, it would put you where, right around 1,800-ish area. So that is a little bit interesting. But overall, the big takeaway from that is that Bitcoin has plenty of room to go down, which, I think people who have been tuning into content like this, people who have been tuning into this channel probably already know that. Hourly over here still being held back by the 10. I mean, this is it's so weak, man. It can't even get, it's having trouble right around here. Okay, so let's go check out let's go check out GBTC. GBTC was also a nice leading indicator. We spoke about this on yesterday's stream, but we basically had a gap down open making new lows below this horizontal support. That was our signal also that yes, 3,600 was extremely likely to break. But of course, you still want to wait for confirmation, which happened about an hour after I signed off. But hey, this one's still a leading indicator telling you, well, we're probably going lower. Again, on GBTC, the scary thing about this is that I really don't see much holding you up from this level right over here around $3.91.5 area. So that would imply a price probably somewhere in the 26 to 2,800 range for Bitcoin. Again, I don't know about Wix. Wix can go any fucking which way, especially when you have, exchanges like BitMEX with 100x. People are going to, liquidations just get fucking insane. But that is worth mentioning right over there that this thing, obviously, there are no good things to say about this chart, like absolutely nothing. This is the chart of a very troubled asset. Ever since you broke this area right here, $6.81.5. I mean, even before that, like even around here, $8.05. We've been using that area for a long time to kind of denote, okay, as long as you're above there, you can still kind of make the. It doesn't look good, but you can still kind of make the argument for it. But the second that you break there, which we did, it's like, all right, well, now you get to go down to the fucking depths of hell. So that is this one really is starting to go parabolic to the downside now. So just like when you were going to the upside, you start going parabolic, and then you have a little bit of a pit stop, then you go parabolic again. That's kind of what I do feel is likely to happen on Bitcoin to the downside. Again, equal but opposite type emotional conditioning. So always keep that in mind. Always ask yourself how you're feeling, and remember this time going forwards here, because this sort of experience will serve you so fucking well in trading in general, like no matter what market you want to trade, because you'll have the emotional conditioning of understanding what an actual bear market feels like. And instead of being like some of the people who panic because they thought that 6,000 could never break, and then they thought that 4,400 could never break, and then they thought that 3,800 could never break, well, you'll be more wise knowing that this is all actually very, very possible, and because in a way, because most people think that it can't break, it probably will in a fucked up way, which is actually quite true. Let's go check out regular markets over here, because yes, they do have that correlation, but there's something very interesting to be aware of over here. So regular markets opened up the day on their lows. It was down about what was it, like 4 or 5 points on SPYs over here, just sweeping the lows once again, but holding above it. So we spoke about this week how it was unlikely to be a full-on break or anything like that, but it was likely to kind of sweep the lows. Well, that has happened now. So we have that. What happens for the rest of the week? Well, I mean, we are at the rest of the week right now. It's Friday. Probably do rally back up to like 271. I would imagine, and fill this area out over here. If the yellow 20-minute exponential rejects it at 271.5 on this horizontal, that's going to be pretty damn nasty. And yes, I do think that the overall stage is set for this guy. You very likely will be getting a death cross on the daily, the green 55 and the purple 200 right over here. And weekly looks bad no matter which way you kind of cut it. But overall, this is a topping formation. To me, it's just a matter of time before it starts to fall over. We spoke about how the monthly is pretty nasty as well. Major bearish divergence on the RSI, getting back into the neutral zone right over here, back below the exponential, well below the exponential, and bearish divergence on the Stokes as well, getting rejected from the more critical bullish zone as well. So to me, this thing has a lot of room to the downside. Probably does make a run towards 240. Either I guess maybe even late December, man. But I'd be more confident saying probably January, February of next year. And then I think probably does make its way down to about 220 to 215 over time. But again, just like Bitcoin going down past 2,000, I can't say that until we actually break, the next big support first, which again would be 240-ish area. So that's what I'd be looking for. Again, it's going to take, I would imagine it takes some time. But hey, Bitcoin like legitimately smashing through prior lows and making new lows, while SPYs do not. They actually held up. So SPY is relatively strong. Relatively strong. None of this shit is strong. Like, don't get me wrong, none of this shit is strong. But Bitcoin, revealing that it's actually a little bit weaker than what we thought before. They have been correlated on major moves, but now Bitcoin kind of breaking that as SPYs basically closed the day unchanged. And Bitcoin breaking down to new lows. So let's go on over here and check out the historical volatility index. How are we doing over here? Perking its head back up, actually, all the way to 7. So we are moving once again. We are trending once again. Again, this thing can get all the way up to like 20 is what you saw in last December. For reference, we got up to about 10 on the first big couple drops on this last price action, and now we're back above 7. So it does feel to me that, yes, the stage is kind of set. We were done consolidating right over there, popping back into like the 4 range, and now we're ready to move again. So again, bear market in full swing. Bears are in full control. I'm sure a lot of people are talking about the longs and shorts of it all, which, I can briefly touch on. Again, I feel like these have become memes, and I want to distance myself from looking at this shit all the time, because, you have people like fucking Nicholas Martins and fucking Coin Mastery and probably Craig Grunt and Bitcoin. I don't know. There's probably all sorts of fucking, data dash type people looking at this shit. But at the end of the day, yes, it does matter. It's just, it needs to be taken into context and interpreted in the context of the current price action. And as you can see over here, bears are in full control, so they don't really have too much to be worried about. This is why I was saying over here, it doesn't really matter that much. yes, bears are running price action. You do want to see them take a little bit more profit to like run it a little bit more healthily, because at some point in time it will get a little bit overdone. Like this is what you want to see in trend in strong trends. Like you want to see big shorts taking profit, big shorts taking profit, big shorts taking profit. Now it's like now people are getting greedy. Yes, shorts will naturally be higher when the trend is extremely bearish, because it's just like last year with all of the silly hodlers, right? The hodlers will say, you just buy and then you wait. It's that easy. It's like, okay, not really, because the opposite but equal thing can happen to the other side. So again, longs over here are actually a bigger problem to me, although they have pretty much let go of all these silly guys right over here. But basically, longs are in a bigger trouble, in my opinion. When you have above like 26,000 longs, you don't want that when you're like still below 4,000. Like that is really fucking bad. It just puts on too much pressure on price action. I think all the people who went long in like the last couple of days are already liquidated over here. But you have to imagine that, you know, people who are in profitable long positions or leveraged long positions on Finex, like they have to have had those positions from literally more than a year ago now in order to even be in profit. Otherwise, they're going to be holding shit underwater. Again, you can't make trends on these. You can't like do fucking supporting resistance. You can't look at the RSI or divert. I've seen so much fucking wrong shit. Please, if you hear someone say that, just fucking run. Just like the word fractal, like just fucking run. But you can see, you can see over here that yes, most people are either severely underwater or just a little bit underwater. So that does matter, and they're in more of a pressure situation. Now here's the thing though, shorts not really taking profit will at some point offer up the opportunity for a massive squeeze, but it's probably going to be once we get to one of those greater areas of support. For right now, it's well and far away. At the current moment in time, Bitcoin's kind of like in no man's land. Again, the next biggest support that we could even be looking at, sorry, let's go to the logarithmic scale, would be the 200 simple, and that's just going to be the top portion of the secondary blue box territory. But that's actually coming in right around 3150. So somewhere right around there is where it starts to get on my radar that hey, this is balanced territory, and then all the way down really to about 2800 for like the first kind of segment of this. And where a wick lands, I don't fucking know. I mean, you could go all the way down here to the 886, which again is where we actually did bottom out in 2014. But we're doing something different now as well, because remember in 2014 you had this diagonal trend line right over here, which you broke out of on the bull trap. Well, we had the same sort of thing over here on the bull trap all the way to about 8,000, which yes, that was a legitimate bull trap, just like this one was over here. In 2014, you actually did bounce off that once and then twice over here. Well, Bitcoin in 2018 is not really, I mean, it might actually break this level. It might actually break this level on the weekly digital close. So again, not a good sign. I mean, this can get a lot worse and can last a lot longer than I think most people are really anticipating. Not saying that it's going to, but I'm saying that get fucking ready, man. Get fucking ready. Anyways, okay, so yeah, you're gonna hear all the people talking about fucking bullish divergence on your 3-day over here. Yeah, you might be able to make some, but like I said, a lot of damage can be done in the next couple days. There's no bullish divergence to be had on a daily. I know people are talking about that. They're like, the RSI is screaming buy. No, fuck no. Like, just imagine that gif of Michael Scott going, no, God, no. Shit like that. God, my neighbors must fucking hate me. I'm sorry about that, guys. I should do a warning every time I'm about to scream. Sorry, guys. It's just like it comes up sometimes. I must have like Tourette's or I don't know. Maybe I'm autistic or some shit. Anyways, there's gonna be no divergence here. People are gonna be like, okay, so you got this point, and then this point over here. No, you need a stopping point first. You need something to be able to relate to that. This is just continuation, and you will continue until you do not, which I know is not too helpful. But I'm looking for a bottom like this. You need something like this, and then you can compare it. Right now, we have nothing of the sort. Nothing. So again, please keep in mind, this will continue to go until you actually get either like a hammer dildo, a bullish engulfing dildo, a doji dildo, whatever the fuck it might be. I need something that represents at least, at the very least, a point of indecision and perhaps a small reversal. Then you can actually analyze those points, and then maybe you might actually have some fucking bullish divergence. But again, plain bullish formations in a bearish market is fucking suicide in my opinion. All you have to do right now, just wait for a bearish pattern in a bearish market, and then you can be fucking rich. It's that simple. It's going to take a little bit of patience, but patience is a virtue. So get your fucking religion on, because that will actually serve you pretty damn well. Again, people are always looking to play like fucking falling wedges. Are just like, when people start talking about fucking wedges of any shapes and sizes, I automatically think, okay, this person probably does not trade for a living, because in my experience, those are like the least likely ones to play out, and they're just, playing fucking patterns to begin with is just bullshit in my opinion. I'd rather play like just horizontal supporting resistance. I've seen every fucking pattern break out every fucking way that is technically not supposed to. Yes, you did have kind of what could have been a descending triangle over here. Well, that's playing out right now. And again, the measure move on that was pointing us towards like, I don't know, 2,900 or some shit. Okay, let's go check out Mr. Beaterall. Let's go pick on him for a second, because, well, what's a fucking video without picking on Mr. Beaterall? Heading down to our next horizontal. Yes, we made it. We're well deep into double-digit shitcoin territory. Let's see. Did we meet the measure move on this guy? No, actually beat it. So yeah, didn't really work there. Again, measure moves sometimes they're just not even right. But basically, yeah, this is the chart of an asset that is extremely nasty. Whenever you see this kind of like rolling over formation over here, bad, very fucking bad. And this is no exception. It's just accelerating further and further. Again, people looking at this and saying, all right, heavy volume, bounce, capitulation. Heavy volume, bounce, capitulation. Heavy volume, bounce, fuck! Heavy volume, no bounce. Yeah, it's probably gonna go lower, man. If you do break this 88 level right over here, which again, I need to see this broken like a daily. We haven't necessarily closed a daily under it just yet. But this is not capitulation over here, by the way. Not at all as it stands, unless you get like a massive green dildo with extremely heavy volume, like bigger than this guy over here in the next, during this next course of the day. The next big area of support is all the way down around here, $58 to about $50 even. So that's where I'd be looking towards. Again, this is not like super strong or anything like that, but it is a support. Probably will bounce off there, shit like that. Where's your strong support for Ethereum? Well, the problem with Ethereum is that it hasn't really been around in like a bear market before. It wasn't around in 2014. But I guess your longer term, base area would be right around here, $15, $16, all the way to like $21. I'm not saying it's going to get down there. Same thing as Bitcoin. I need to see like levels broken first. But hey, there is something to be said about that. Okay, let's go check out Ripple Me Timbers over here. Ripple joining the red dildo party as well. We spoke about how, again, once it broke this area over here, it's like time to really be fucking on edge. Then once it broke 38.5 cents, that was your second chance to sell. And breaking, I mean, this level right here, yeah, it was support. Yes, you did have a little bit of a stutter step around it, but it doesn't even matter about it. It's very likely coming back down to your former base, full retrace all the way down to 27 cents. If that area breaks, that's where things get a little bit more nasty, as your next big support would be right around here in like the higher teens. But hey, Ripple, unlike Buterol, was actually around for the prior bear market. So it actually does have a base to go back to. That base would be literally below 7 cents. But hey, people love to hate on this thing when it actually has survived that sort of a market phase before. So okay, so I think I've covered pretty much everything I wanted to speak on. At least I hope so. We can go back to Bitcoin, finish this bitch up. Again, Bitcoin just kind of having a little bit of a pullback right here. As long as you're below 3,600, it's, I'll just be hodling on just shorts. 3,600 should become a very, 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 very strong resistance going forwards now. I do think that Bitcoin does get a big bounce at some point, and I think that the high of the bounce would not be anywhere above 4,500, but could get all the way back to 4,500. But this would be my first point of interest for being a big seller and trying a nice short position over there. If that area gets taken out, then yeah, I do start looking towards about 4,000 or 4,300. That would kind of make sense to me. For now, though, direction still kind of down. Not kind of down. It fucking is down. Again, don't. This is not the time to be BTFD. So silly. Go over here to the daily and just understand that this thing has plenty of room to go down. Your daily Stokes actually just having a fresh cross down, by the way. I'm curious what the 2-day says. Yeah, 2-day fresh cross down. 3-day never got crossed up. Weekly. Weekly just getting into the more critical zone here, and again, it can stay there for a long time. This is and monthly doesn't even have enough. Well, monthly over here actually does just get into the more critical zone as well. So again, this thing has plenty of room to go down. Monthly RSI actually just get into the bearish control zone as well, which you actually never have really spent too much time in there. So fair enough. Interesting. That is a little bit interesting. Have we made new lows on RSI for like the life cycle of this? Yeah, technically, yes. The low, this guy was right here, and we're just poking our head below right now. But again, not really too much to be said about that. I would really be focused on just kind of like the next obvious levels of support. So again, resistance 3,600. I don't really want to play anything in here. Yes, you will have resistance right around 3,500. Maybe I do try a little bit of a scalp trade around there. Probably not though. Still short from much higher, and just enjoying that, taking things easy, sleeping tight. By the same token, I do think that this move does continue down further, although we are kind of resting still on this diagonal trend line if we go to our Bitstamp chart. So maybe it does find support around here. We haven't fully broken it just yet, so fair enough. I suppose that would be a little bit more of a better sign for like a stutter step here. But again, I do have a measure move taking us down to about 2,900-ish area. So whether that happens, I don't have a time frame for that happening. I don't think that you can have a time frame for that happening. But this kind of is interesting over here. Just monitor this one going forwards. Do we actually break this area or not? Again, to me, it's like, all right, well, you either get like a higher chance to short or not. So again, that's what I'd be looking at right over there. I think that's going to do it for this video. Hope everyone's staying safe. Hope everyone's having a great week. I'll be back on later with a nice live stream. So I look forward to seeing you guys there. If not, well, hope you have the best of the best Fridays and the best birthday possible as well. Take care, guys. See you soon.